But my name is Justyna and I'm from Katarynka Foundation. Thank you for your invitation here. So today I actually wanted to talk about live audio description performance and why does experience of journalism contributes to being a good live audio describer, which I believe it does. Actually, I can also say it's our and my friend Mariusz that is on the picture, but unfortunately he couldn't make it here. It's our life story because we come from the background of radio journalism. We used to be a local radio presenters and journalists, and we moved to audio description full-time profession. So we kind of, I will be talking from experience, not necessarily from any academical studies. But it all started for us, as far as live AD is concerned, on Euro 2012 sport games, football games that were held in Poland. Two guys from Austria, they were inclusion experts, came over here to train Polish volunteers so they could perform some live audio description for football matches. We eagerly signed up for that, but we also took some of friend of ours, which are based also in radio journalism. They were only guys, but they were radio journalists and they were also interested in sport, or they were strictly sport professionals, sport journalists. And while we were keeping with the training, it became quite apparent that those guys with the background of journalism and professional sport expertise were absolutely the best choice for live AD. They were the most capable, they were witty, entertaining and very descriptive, and actually they performed the best. So what we figured out after that we will incorporate this strategy, that this would be our secret. We will train experts and professionals like sport journalists to become audio describers. Maybe it's not a rocket science, but to be honest, it might be for some. We were in London a few months ago, and a very interesting case was presented there. It turned out that Channel 4 took up this big, challenging production of live AD for Paralympics. And what I understood, they trained their own audio describers to become professionals in sports, to get to know the sportmen, the sport rules, and we find it, obviously the outcome was great, but the whole process of training was probably very, very time-consuming and challenging. So what we did since 2012, we actually probably audio described live 300 matches, different sport events. Just now we collaborate with about 12 journalists, radio journalists that are experts in sports. They are all guys, which you can figure out why, because basically sport area is mostly taken over by men, I guess. We collaborate with many sport clubs all over Poland, with national football team, and also with sport TV channels that are also broadcasting live AD. The guys are there in the studio and they can audio describe the transmission while it's running. So I wanted to also give you a very brief outlook on some good practices we do. They are pretty obvious, but maybe some of you are not very familiar with sport and live AD. So we basically always work in pairs, unless the event we audio describe is very short or we are short of staff. but mainly we figure out that the interaction between audio describers is what makes audio description much more entertaining and fluent and also very dynamic. So we figured out this is really good. We also use the research. So, but unfortunately, instead of just doing a research before, we have to take all our research with us. So we take a lot of documents, even photos of players or performers. So we make sure we describe the right person, which is not that obvious sometimes, especially when you're really short of time and you're working under pressure. And and we also use binoculars because the area we cover is really big. And this is one of things that are really difficult while you are doing live audio description. You just simply can't see very well. But on the other hand, while we are describing, it's nothing to be ashamed of. To just say, I can't really see too much, just give me a second, I have to figure out what's going on. That's quite often and common. So we do that as well. We talk a lot, but we really do, which means we talk constantly during 90 minutes performance. What we found out, the one thing our audience is really sensitive about is they don't want to be left out with silence in their headphones. So in opposition to probably movie or theater audio description, we really need to be talking all the time. And during like performances, music performances, we obviously sneak in between the songs. So that's the time when we speak about what was going on in other song, in the song before, and what is going on stage just now. And that's also the reason why we need two people audio describing, because it's obviously difficult to keep up with the pace. We describe and inform, which means that apart from the descriptive part in audio description, we also have to inform because our audience is specific. People with disabilities that need to know where the closest accessible loo is, where is the gastro area, how to get back from the show with the transportation. So we also put this information in audio description. We also asked our journalists, our audio describers, what they think contributes from being journalist to becoming an audio describer. And there are things that they think really help them becoming an audio describer from the journalist. So first thing, and the foremost and most obvious, is they are really proficient in the language skills. Another thing that actually really matters is their on-air experience. They were performing live before, and they are not as stressed as I am right now during their performances, which is really good. It makes a great difference. And while I was saying, it really is important that we constantly talk. Somebody with good on-air experience knows how to do it. Being concise when needed, but also being very elaborate when needed. Most of the time, we are short of time during audio description. The pace is very fast. There's not much time between songs to describe, so they know how to cut the story short. But on the other hand, there are times there's nothing going on. People are swapping guitars or cables, or they are talking who put on the field. And that's the time they have to come up with these round, complex sentences, just like that. And they have to be really fluent, funny, and entertaining at the same time. So, on the other hand, that's when our research comes up. We have anecdotes, we have some scraps from the newspapers, and we just instantly can come up with something to fill in the gap. Although Isa was putting a lot attention to hearing, I think that visual thinking in case of live audio description is very important. While you are a radio journalist, it's obvious that your audience is somehow visually impaired. And this way, it's very, very similar to being a live audio describer. They think visually, and it really helps. Vocal skills, that is something really indispensable. And I think while talking about live audio description, the importance of our voice and vocal skills are 50-50 to narrative we make. We really build the story and emotions with our voice. And this is quite important in here. And the last thing is being an expert. As we develop to find out a lot of things while we're describing movies, as Isa said, we're never an expert in anything. We can do our research. Once you're thrown in a current of unexpected events in a stadium or on the concert, you really don't have time for that. You have to know your fanatics lingo. You have to know specific language of sports. And if you don't, your audience that is listening to you will detect immediately you're not authentic, that you're lying. And they will kind of leave you out of the circle of sport freaks or some great music bands. You're not authentic to them. So this is crucial, and I find there is nothing really to can replace this part of being a journalist on the field of audio description. We also asked, these are our audio descriptors during the World Games. They are quite funny guys. They have like colorful socks on their heads to describe it. We also asked them what are the key elements for live AD. They think they are like crucial to focus on while they are performing, while they are doing live audio description. So first of all, they set timing and fast pace, and therefore building the suspense, which means that there is really such fast pace. They have to resonate with the whole audience reaction. When people clap, they have to instantly say what's going on. When people boo, they have to keep up with it, because audience, the visually impaired audience, say this is really like the worst. If there's something going on the stadium and they don't know why people do these things. They can't join, I don't know, the great joy or anger together. So they have to be even half of a step before the whole reaction of people. Even if it's of the cost of less accurate or less detailed description. And I would like to give you a really quick piece of live AD, which shows you how to build like this suspense, and hopefully we can have it interpreted. Just give me a second.
Robak ustawiony na 16 metrze, lekko lewa noga z przodu, spogląda w stronę Putnowskiego, a ten spokojny, przyczajony, z rękoma na kolanach, na linii bramkowej stoi i czeka, spogląda w oczy swojego kolegi, jeszcze do niedawna z zespołu, za moment sędzia Kim da znać się do wykonania tej jednostki. Robak, gol! 2-0 w 47 minucie i to chyba była ostatnia akcja. W pierwszych 45 minutach poszedł w lewą stronę Putnowski, strzelił w prawo Robak i mamy 2-0.
So we had those elements. We need to build suspense and this really big vocal work going on that really matters. But also we have this professional language here that most of us don't know really, unless you're a football fan. And this is really important. The other thing is impression. And I would like to refer a little bit to what Isa said about that in the movies we build narration, we want to have the bigger scope, the bigger picture of things. And this is absolutely true. Whereas when you have live AD, you don't have a chance to see a bigger scope. You only have those chunks, those fragmentary things, so you have to rely on impression. The impression is the most important thing. You rely on as somebody that watches, and people that are listening to you, they rely on impression. So this is basically how our audio describers have to trust themselves, and the things they see or have impressions instantly, they basically transform into description. I have another piece for you from the match. It's quite funny.
Nie wiem, pomarańczowy, czerwony, ale również jednolity, żółwiasty kolor bramkarza z numerem 30 Matusza Putnockiego, który teraz przybija sobie piątkę białymi rękawicami z kolegami z zespołu.
Czekałem na słowo żarówiasty z Twoich ust, uwielbiam, ono doskonale definiuje te stroje, które rzeczywiście tak właśnie wyglądają. To jest strój, który znakomicie sprawdziłby się podczas zejścia lawiny w Alpach. Bartosz Putnocki byłby znaleziony właściwie od razu.
Albo rowerowych, bez najmniejszego problemu byłby widoczny kilka kilometrów przed rozpoczęciem.
Na rowerze też spokojnie po ulicy może jeździć. Jeśli chodzi o kolory,
So as you can see, really, this has to be entertainment. It has to be funny, and you have to be quite witty with what you come up with, and just go with impressions. And as with just regular AD, as Isa said, we need to bring up emotions. People that are coming for collective live shows, they are here for emotions, to feel something, to laugh, and cry, and yell together. That's pretty obvious. So this is what actually leads the whole audio description, live audio description. We need to bring up these emotions. We need to make people on the stadium, visually impaired people, feel what everybody else is feeling. So we are not afraid of subjective descriptions. We are not afraid of emotional description. We exaggerate a lot. This is one thing. We really exaggerate, as you could hear a moment ago. We try to enhance the description, and as much as it can be enhanced. And obviously, vocal skills help it as well. This is just the last piece from Orange Warsaw Festival.
Te owacje, które Państwo słyszeli, to dlatego, że Lana zeszła ze sceny i podeszła do ludzi, do fanów, którzy robią sobie z nią zdjęcia, którzy dlatego są tacy szczęśliwi, że ukochana artystka postanowiła się do nich zbliżyć, z niektórymi rozmawia, do wszystkich się oczywiście bardzo uśmiecha.
Trochę wygląda teraz scena jak takie smakowite, purpurowe ciasteczko, także robi się bardzo słodko i smakowicie, ale teraz kolory nabierają takiego właśnie buduarowego koloru.
So it's not that obvious how we do it, right? We need to bring up emotions, and when you're there for 2.5 hours, it's really saying the next time that color is changing, that we have these neons or whatever. It's not enough. And that's basically how we do it. We believe that there's a lot of things to do still, and we actually don't have like proper, I don't know whether I say it from just my perspective, but I still think that there is lack of some kind of standards or like good practices to share as far as live AD. So basically we think that would be nice to maybe come up with something like that. I don't know. We can still talk about it if you'd like. Thank you for your understanding and being polite.
Thank you very much, Justyna. I didn't know you actually have to wear a